Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Minuteman Theory podcast. I am Brad.
And I'm Ian.
And we are here today. Our topic today is failure. We're talking about failure.
So if you look under Ian history, you're going to see more failures than successes. That's just the way it goes. I have failed at so many things in my life, and it's funny because we kind of came up with this as I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it was snowing. It's snowing pretty decently. We got about an inch on the ground. And I was trying to make a fire the old school way, with flint and steel and with a fire piston. And I could not for the life of me get either one of those to go, so I ended up using a lighter. And I looked at Brad and I said, man, I feel like all I've been doing here recently is failing. But I also feel like I've been learning a lot of lessons while doing that, like making sure that our tinder is completely out of the snow or we're taking that second follow-up shot to confirm our first shot,
Yeah, and I like to, I've failed a lot too. I failed a lot recently, and it's really frustrating. For those of you who don't know, I am a business owner, and in order to get good at business, you have to fail a lot.
Okay.
And I've been failing a lot lately.
Okay.
And yeah, it is frustrating, but kind of reframing that idea of taking a failure and turning it into a learning opportunity. Like, we were filming a short, stupid video of, well, it wasn't meant to be stupid.
Right. It was meant to be serious, yeah.
Of Ian starting a fire with his fire piston. When that didn't work, he switched to flint and steel, and when that didn't work, he, finally ended up with the lighter. And
Right.
At first he was kind of like, man, this is kind of embarrassing, I'm failing. But I was like, no, we should stick with that. We should edit it, turn it into a video. I think it'd be funny.
Right.
But also it goes to show that, sometimes you fail, even at things that you're good at. Like, I've seen Ian start fires with flint and steel before, and with all sorts of different methods. I know he knows how to do it. Just sometimes it's more difficult than other times.
Well, and that's our latest video, you know what I mean, which is skyrocketing, and I couldn't be happier. I think that is awesome. I'm super, super thankful to all of you that are watching, and all of you that are sharing, man. That video is going orbital, and I'm so thankful. But there are times in that video where I am not doing what I should be. The perfect example is when I hit that target the first time at 100 yards.
Uh-huh.
Okay? I jerked that trigger something fierce, and I knew it. I knew it as soon as it happened. And I didn't even expect it to be on paper. But there it was. And it was right where it was supposed to be. But I'm just, I look at the video and I see myself going click, I'm pulling, I can see it, I can see it happening, and it's, I know it's happening, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure that it doesn't happen. And that's because I haven't hit the target, that's the failure, is that I haven't hit the target, So I'm learning, and that's the same thing with everything. For those of you that don't know, I have worked years to try and make my break into law enforcement. I had I had an opportunity in Idaho that didn't pan out. I had an opportunity in Montana that didn't pan out. I had another opportunity in Montana that didn't pan out. I had another. The list is endless. The list is absolutely endless. But through that, I've learned to take a look at myself. I've learned that, the first time I ever failed to become a law enforcement officer was because I just couldn't jump high enough. And so I've worked, every time I learn something new, I go out of my way to make sure that's never an issue again. Now, maybe something else, but that's something that I honestly can't control. You know what I mean? Like saying the wrong thing in an interview. I can't control that, unless somebody tells me, hey, the answer was B and you picked C. It's like, okay,
Sure.
But I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly trying to better myself. And the only way to do that is with failure,
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and that's hard.
Right.
Like when you're learning something new is what I'm talking about. And the video that Ian is talking about, our latest video, is the long range black powder rifle shooting. And like, to be honest, we've had a lot of really positive comments and a lot of people giving us good information.
And we're going to use it.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's also been people that have been rude and and they just basically call us idiots.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes that's tough because it's like, well, I'm not an idiot. I'm just learning. Like for me,
Right.
I have never shot a black powder rifle further than 100 yards until that day.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. And so I had, to be completely honest, I did not know what I was doing. I just wanted to do it.
Yes.
And so, you see in the video too, there's a part, we were there for like 5 or 6 hours.
It was a long day.
Yeah.
It was a long day.
And there's a good section we didn't film because there's a good section of us just, first part of the video, we take some shots and we go, wait a sec, this doesn't seem right. And then we sat there and we, tried different powder loads.
And then the other thing was off camera, we had this older guy come up and start giving us advice. And as soon as we started following his advice, it changed.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing is that old timer, he wasn't in the video.
No.
But he gave us a lot of good info and we started playing with it. And then when we came back on camera, we were a little bit better and and instead of shooting our shots and being like, oh, that's off, we can't even hit the target at 100 yards, instead of just scrapping the video and being like, oh, this is embarrassing,
right,
we decided to keep it in there because we learned I learned a lot that day.
I've shot out to 100 before, but it was at a buffalo-sized target. Like, how exactly do you miss a buffalo-sized target at 100? You know what I mean? Like,
that's not hard.
And so we're shooting at, a piece of a target, and it's like, man, why are my shots? And that's why. You know what I mean? And that's and that's why.
And the other thing too is, we had the camera set up downrange, and so it's interesting because we had the camera set up downrange, but there's a GoPro. Little teeny tiny screen, and it's really hard to, if you've ever used a GoPro, it's hard to scrub through the footage on the teeny tiny screen. And so we kind of tried to watch the footage at one point of the impacts to see where we were hitting so that we could adjust better. We just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Later on when I was editing the video, I was like, oh, if I would have seen this back when we were actually doing it, it would have...
Well, I mean, that's a good example, but even life in general, you know what I mean? Like it's just that perseverance, that willingness.
Hey, post-production Brad here. Sorry for the abrupt cutoff, but unfortunately this part of the episode is missing. We had a camera snafu and about 10 minutes of footage was lost. We decided to upload this episode anyway because we're having good conversation before the missing part and after the missing part, but it is a little disjointed, so that's why I'm popping in here. We went from talking about black powder shooting to, once we pick back up, we're talking about video games. Unfortunately, Ian and I don't know what was said during this missing section, but again, we're uploading it anyway. So thank you for listening to this episode, and I hope you listen to the rest of it as well.
I mean, it's like, I would say it's my second favorite.
Maybe I'll reinstall it and then I'll join your party and you can show me.
Yes, because they got their act together.
Okay.
They did. They got their act together.
Do you play on Xbox?
I do.
Is it cross-platform?
It is not. We'll have to figure something out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. PC Master Race.
Yes. But no, but see that's the thing about the 76 community is that we're like, we want to help each other. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go to a level 1 and just drop off all this stuff and be like, hey man, I don't need this, I don't want this. Like, here you go. Anything I can do to help you out. Like, we'll get on. I have a voice controller. It's like, hey man, what do you need? Like, what are you struggling with? helping each other out. You know, granted, it's just a game, but, you know, help other people out. You know, that's what this is about, you know?
Yeah. Okay, Preston.
Yeah. Another settlement needs your help.
Yeah.
What's funny is that a couple of weeks ago, I literally made a meme with Preston, and I was like, "Hey, General, have you worked on any Minuteman content today?"
Yeah. I do all the editing and
He does. Yep.
and stuff, and I've got a lot of other things going
Yep.
on. So I told Ian, I was like, dude, you gotta bug me. You gotta just bug the crap out of me until I actually do some stuff. And yeah, he's done a pretty good job of that.
What can I say? What can I say?
I actually had so on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
We're on Instagram, by the way.
We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Check out our Facebook. Our Facebook is small, like really small.
Yeah.
But like our video has like 50,000 views. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, I don't know what's going. It doesn't make any sense.
What else do we have? We have X.
Yes.
We have a website which you should be going to, which is minutemantheory.com.
That's where we post the spicy stuff.
Yeah, that's where we post the spicy stuff.
Yeah.
And the if you prefer to read rather than to watch or listen, that is the place to go. And our third member, Nick, who is our philosophical correspondent, chief philosophical correspondent, that is where he posts most of his stuff, and it is really good.
It is. It is definitely worth the time and worth the read.
So go check that out. But oh yeah, Instagram. There's a guy that he followed us on Instagram, and then he messaged the Instagram account and said something like, which settlement needs my help or something.
Outstanding. Why didn't you take a screenshot and send that to? That would have made me so happy.
I'll take a screenshot and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But and then I made up something, you know, I don't remember.
Right.
You know, whatever settlement
Right.
needs you to go
Right.
clean out, whatever. And yeah, I was like, it's a good Fallout reference.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that, you know, we didn't even know that both of us played Fallout when we came, you know, when this kind of came to fruition. So,
Yeah.
But I mean, naturally, I side with the Minuteman every time.
I was
mean,
gonna
like
say,
I can't not.
So in Fallout 4, the factions that I tend to side with are definitely the Minuteman
And the Railroad.
and the Railroad.
Okay, I cannot abide by genocide. That's why I have
never
played,
do the Brotherhood
I
of
have
Steel?
played that game probably 5 times, and not once have I gone with the Brotherhood of Steel. I don't abide by genocide.
I think so. There was one point where I wanted to play through the Brotherhood of Steel just to play through it.
Yeah. Obviously, never mind. I'm not
But
gonna
every time I'd go back to like a game I had started, and I'd be like, okay, I know I need to go to this place
Right.
to start the Brotherhood of Steel campaign. They were always hostile to me. And so I've never actually played any of the Brotherhood of Steel.
Maybe you
in
were a Sith,
Fallout
brother.
4. No, because I blew up the Enclave, or no, not the Enclave. The what's the place called with all
Institute.
the Institute?
Yeah, the Institute.
Yeah, I blew that up.
Well,
And Preston
it doesn't
Garvey
mean-
wasn't too happy about that.
really?
Yeah,
All right.
every time he's like, we didn't have to kill them all.
See?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Anyway, tangent. I love
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
love it. Anyway, so, you know, the only thing that I would say about failure is, number one, change something. It's like a science experiment. Change something.
Yeah. Learn from your
Yes,
failure.
yes.
Don't, if you fail at something, don't take it and analyze. You know what? Actually, so I used to work for a Fortune 500 company that shall remain unnamed because I don't.
Did you end up at the Catalina wine mixer? That's all I really care about.
No. Thank you.
He didn't end up at the Catalina wine mixer.
I worked for a Fortune 500 company in operations. This company had large warehouses full of computers. Anyway.
Begins with an A.
And even though I'm not a huge fan of them and their business practices, they did a lot of stuff right. And that's probably why they're so big.
Right.
One of the things that they would do is we had, if we failed to do something that we were supposed to do, especially regarding security,
Really?
we
Okay.
had a report we had to write. And this report was very structured. It was basically what happened,
Okay.
how did you fail,
Interesting.
and then how are you going to do it next time to not fail, and what needs to happen right
Really?
now to prevent it from failing in the future. Yeah,
Really?
it was really good. I'm trying to remember. There's a specific name we had for it. I don't remember what it was called, but I actually really liked that because, and it was a pain to write because you had to write it in like 24 hours.
But see, did you learn a lesson?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have a wonderful story about that.
Okay. What?
Yeah, go ahead.
There was one time we had. So I was in charge of a team of people, and we had a situation where some hardware that held information was to be transported off-site and destroyed. And we had a situation where that hardware that held information did not get handled correctly. And so it wasn't tracked properly. We did thankfully confirm that it was destroyed, which is per policy. But I had to write that, how did we fail? What are we going to do different? And I really like that analysis. So when you fail, think about, how did I fail? Why did I fail? What can I do now to fix whatever this is so that I don't fail again in the future?
Nice.
And so we actually had to modify a policy that was already in place. We had to modify it to fit this specific situation.
Okay.
And we had to modify an SOP, which is a standard operating procedure for those who aren't in operations, to fit this specific situation so that this specific failure would not happen again in the future.
Okay.
So, and
I like that.
and I do that in my own personal life. I mean, I don't sit down and write a report,
Right.
but I sit down and analyze my failure and try to figure out what variable I'm going to change when I try again.
Right. So, this may be surprising, but when I first joined the military, I was not the best soldier. Okay?
Huh.
I was not the... Weird. Like, for those of you that know me, that probably doesn't come as a surprise. I was not the best soldier, and I remember I got to my new unit, and I had a sergeant. His name was Hun. His first name was Hun. His last name was Tang. He was from Vietnam. Hun Tang.
Okay.
So we called him Sergeant Tang, his last name. And I remember I was doing something, and he was my squad leader. He was my team leader. He was my team leader at the time, and I looked at him, I said, "Why are you being such a spaz?"
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Okay, Smith, come with me." And I was like, I done screwed up. Like, I deserve every push, because I realized after I said it, I was like, oh God, I screwed up. I failed. I absolutely failed. He goes, "You're going to write me a 5,000 word essay by hand as to what you just did." That stung more than any PT that I ever had to do, because I genuinely had to think, and I had to write out all my thoughts on a piece of paper. So I have always, that's always been something that I've kept in mind. It's like, if I screw up, I need to write it down and make sure that I don't do it again, because we're trying to learn a lesson here. I'll never forget that essay. It's "What is respect?" And it was 5,000 words, and holy God, yeah.
Oh, that would have been good. Do you still have a copy of that?
I don't. Oh. I don't have a copy of that. I should probably try and hook up with him again and be like, "Hey, Sarge, you got that copy of that essay I wrote you when I first got to the unit?" Yeah, no, he called me out, and that was that, and it never happened again, because I was like, boy, I as soon as it came out of my mouth, I realized I screwed up, but then the whole writing of 5,000 word essay was definite reinforcement to not do something stupid like that again.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Vietnamese coworkers, when I was working at that one company, I had a coworker. His name was Mon Pham,
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
he was from Vietnam. Like, had the craziest story of how he came to the United States, and that dude was awesome.
Yes.
So, Mon, if you're watching, you're awesome.
Sergeant Tang, if you're watching, I apologize. I feel like we kind of got past that as far as our deployment, but man, I'll never. I'll tell you what. You come to my area and I'll lock up for you. I promise.
Well, I have one more thing that I can think of off the top of my head about failure, and that is Thomas Edison.
Yes.
Even though he was a jerk to Nikola Tesla and he was kind of a shady guy in history, if you don't know about his shadiness, you should look that up.
Topsy.
Topsy.
That was the elephant's name.
Oh, that was the elephant's
that was
name?
The elephant's name. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Just to go off on a little tangent to explain that. So Edison was all about DC,
Yes.
which is direct current electricity, and then Nikola Tesla, was all about alternating current, AC. That's where AC/DC comes from.
Greatest rock and roll. Anyway.
What'd you say the name was?
Topsy.
Topsy. So Edison put on this demonstration. There was this war basically between AC and DC. AC was obviously the superior system for a lot of reasons, which we'll not go into.
That gets super.
Yeah. Cable size and run length, and anyway. But Edison set up this demonstration where he used AC electricity to electrocute an elephant.
Now, there will be an other side that argues that the elephant did stomp to death some people.
Oh, really?
At a circus.
I didn't.
There's a whole. I mean, there's a whole nebulous of weird. Regardless.
Okay. But anyway, he electrocuted this elephant publicly to basically say that AC was dangerous and people should use DC. But anyway, tangent over.
Yes.
Edison actually had a really good quote, even though he was an elephant killer.
Love it.
He was credited with the invention of the modern light bulb, even though Tesla did that before him too. But okay, anyway. But he had a good quote. He's because he made many iterations of this until he finally got it right, and he said that I did not fail 10,000 times. He said I found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Yes.
And I think that that's how we ought to, even though he's an elephant killer and stole the light bulb.
Among other things.
Yeah. That is actually a really good quote.
Yes.
That is something that you ought to take to heart. Is we didn't find we didn't fail 100 times to shoot our target at 200 yards. We found 100 ways how not to shoot a target at 200 yards.
In closing, I just kind of want to say the founding fathers didn't think they were going to win this thing.
No,
they didn't think they were going. They just wanted Britain to, kind of back up. They didn't, but they won.
Yep.
Like, you got to realize, John Hancock knew that when he signed the Constitution and then the deck, that he was going to be hung if they failed.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm talking about. Have that gumption to be like, I may fail at this, but let's send it. Let's just do it.
Yep.
And I feel like that's what we're doing. Granted, we may fail, we may not. Let's at least send it. At least do something.
Yeah. That's the quote that you should take away from this is at least send it.
Yeah, at least send it, man.
Yep. And the founding fathers had a lot of failures too. And maybe we could talk about that on another podcast episode. I think Nick would be a good one to have on.
I do. I'd like to get him. I'd love to
Yeah.
get him on. I have some other people that I'd like to get on a
We
podcast.
should. Yeah. And we're trying to do this podcast a little more regularly. Of course, this is only the second episode, and it has been
3 months.
3 months.
As well, what you'll notice is that in the first podcast, we were in shorts, and it was very hot. And in this podcast...
Well, hold on. You were in shorts.
That is true, yes. I
had a
in
leg
shorts.
full of devil's
I did. But, however, you'll notice that the scenery has changed just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah. But anyway, thank you for watching or listening. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us at minutemantheory.com. We're also on Instagram, X, and Facebook.
Get out there and try something new.
Yeah.
Do something you've never done before. Try it.
Do it. Go out there and try to better yourself.
Yeah. You fail, you learn from it, and you move on. You don't do the same exact thing over again.
Yep. So I agree.
Hey guys, thanks for watching.
Yep. Thanks for watching. All right.
Ugh.
I need to empty my bladder.
I do too.